Hey, good morning, guys. I want to do this video on integrity and accountability. And it's a pretty deep topic for myself. And I'm pretty vulnerable with a lot of my videos. And it's funny because it makes other people uncomfortable sometimes in my field. But I'm kind of like, if I want to teach and preach and mentor, I also need to be an example. Um, so that's why I try to. Be a little more transparent than others in my field, and hopefully that it helps somebody else. Um, so anyways, I remember, way back in the day, I decided I wanted to start going to meetings, and I'd been clean and sober for a while. Okay, and the funny part is I never got clean and sober in the rooms. I got clean and sober in church, where they really addressed my issues with depression and self pity, which was really the core of my issue that was promoting my addiction. I was feeling sorry for myself, I was depressed, and I wanted to escape that feeling instead of learning how to deal with it. So I started going to meetings, because I wanted to experience what my clients were experiencing and see what the deal was with having a sponsor and just going through the 12 steps. So I went for a while, and I even spoke at a lot of meetings. People would ask me to speak, and I would tell my story, which is probably in my first book, just about my grandfather and when I was really jumping off into my addiction. And it was probably at one of the apex, of my is that the right word? The high point of my selfishness. And I don't want to talk about that right now because I still get kind of choked up with some of the things that I did and just the intensity of my self-absorption. Um, so anyways, I was going to meetings and I'm going to the 12 steps. I'm going to AA. I'm going to NA. I'm visiting. I'm making friends. See a lot of people I know. It was all groovy and I'm feeling pretty good about myself because I've been sober for a while. I wasn't really struggling with drugs or alcohol. And then somebody told me about this group called Celebrate Recovery. I said, hey, what's that about? And they said, well, it's a Christian meeting where they don't just talk about drugs and alcohol, they talk about the issues that the other issues that we deal with, lust, pornography, selfishness, depression, all the different hangups that will trip us up in life and keep us from really living, the best life, the best blessed life. And I said, huh, okay, I'm gonna go check that out. So I go, and I was kind of it was uncomfortable for me, because they started off, singing, these old, church songs, and I'm just like, I'm not really digging it. It's not my kind of music. And then they kind of talked and shared and then they broke up into gender groups. So all the men went with men, all the women went with women, and I was like, huh, okay, this is pretty cool. And the men started going deep, you know, about their issues with their wives and issues with themselves and just being a man and anger and lust and I was like, I was stunned. And if y'all know me, I'm usually never at a loss for words, but I was not prepared to go all transparent. I mean, this is way before I did videos or did any writing or anything like that. Um, and you got to think, this is Will, who is totally uncomfortable with himself. You know, um, I was great at putting on a show and putting on the mask, but I didn't let anybody behind the curtain. So as I'm listening to these guys in this group, and a couple of them would just break down in tears in just sharing. And, mind you, I'm not there as a counselor. I'm there as a participant. And they're going around in the circle, and it's a small group, which is even more uncomfortable. So I'm feeling the pressure to share. If it had been a big group, I'd have been able to hide. But like they're going around and they're talking, and they're like, well, what do you think? And they call me William. What do you think, William? Da 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 da. And I'm just like, I'm choking, and I'm like, uh, and I don't even remember what I said, but that was the beginning of me going to these sessions, these meetings, and I eventually got a sponsor, and he was a really cool guy, a really cool older guy, and we went through the 12 steps, and it was like a revelation, because mind you, I thought I had it all together, you know, um, and do you ever get so comfortable in your own identity that you don't smell how funky you are? You're so cool with your own accomplishments that you stop growing and you start to get a little moldy and you don't realize it. So as I'm in this meeting and I'm talking and I'm sharing eventually, it got real. I mean, it got real, and so it took accountability to the level of personal integrity, and it was man, I don't know I don't know what else to say. And I think a lot of us struggle with that, because we're never going to be perfect. Okay, I still make mistakes, I still do it, you know and I have to go check myself, I have conversations I shouldn't have, I look at things I shouldn't look at, I think about things I definitely shouldn't be thinking about, and some of the, I mean, I just ah, you know but what I tell a lot of my people is like, you got to shake it off and move forward, you got to shake it off, forgive yourself and move forward, you know not to minimize what you've done, but part of the tricks of our addiction or temptation or whatnot is to get us to go into self-pity and depression and self-condemnation, because once you go there, the feeling is so uncomfortable and ugly, we start to entertain ideas of how to quickly get out of it, how to escape, which is how I got into my addiction to begin with. I was looking for a quick exit instead of learning how to endure and deal and really fix what's at the core. I wanted that surface substance of joy, of ecstasy, of feeling good. And I was talking to somebody the other day about, look, I'm married. I love my wife. I love my marriage, but the marriage isn't perfect. I mean, it's not. There's certain things that my wife doesn't do that I love, that I desire. From cooking to going. I mean, she don't like. Like I love to go to the movies. She doesn't like to go to the movies that much. You know, you're gonna run into that in every relationship. Now the problem is do you find alternative outside things to do to compensate for what's not in your relationship, or do you dig in and commit and make the sacrifice to work with what you got? And let me tell you that cuts me deeply, because I need to. I mean, I'm a work in progress, guys. That's why I tell you guys, keep me in prayer. But not just in my relationship, but in my own, in all my walks in life. And I'm hoping I'm talking to you guys too, because when we take a look at our life and give an honest evaluation. See, this is beyond accountability. We can set up, accountability, partners, mentors, or whatever, but it still comes down to our personal integrity on whether we're going to tell them everything, or do we just tell them the things that make us look pretty? Or do we just tell ourselves the things that make us feel pretty, ignoring the ugly parts that are holding us back, that are keeping us from evolving and growing. I was talking to someone the other day about just work and the things that are holding back, because of the marijuana, and I said, look, I'm not dogging anybody about marijuana. I said, but it's gonna hold you back from getting to certain levels in your career, so we kind of broke bread and we talked about it, and only she can really take a look at that, because it's not. I'm not gonna ground you. I'm not gonna punish you, but we end up, the punishment is the natural consequence that comes from us not totally committing to the journey that we want, the goal that we have. When we really take a look at the life that we really want, there is no compromise. And that's why I tell some people, when it comes to the addiction and sobriety is the secondary goal. Okay. My goal is to be a phenomenal addictions counselor. So clearly I can't be doing crack, but let me take it another step further. I shouldn't be doing, other things that injure my integrity, because I want to be I want to be a good example. And so when we look at our life, I got people who have mad skills, crazy talent, but they're still doing dope, and that's going to hold them back from getting to the level of success that they desire. And so when we're looking at personal integrity, can you keep your own word to yourself? Do you have the integrity to be who you say you want to be? Not who you are, but who you want to be. I want to be better. I want to be the best. Brandon Hudson, my one of my trainers for boxing and MMA. His drive is phenomenal. And you'll see him do his podcast, and he's just got a phenomenal story. And I love his talks and just him. It's just inspiring on how he just has this drive to take it to that next level, to always evolve, to always grow. And he presents that example, and I want to be like that. I want to present that example, and I'm gonna tell you, you will see whether people are about what they say they are by the fruit, by what they produce. So they'll see, okay, whether Will's just all talk. Will really ain't about the business. Will just talks about it. And you can tell by the sacrifice people are willing to make, you know by not just by their talk but by their walk. And that comes with the integrity. you know I told my wife I was going to work out this morning. I didn't work out this morning, but I brought my gym clothes because I'm going to go work out this afternoon, because I want to be a man that keeps his word. And my wife is cool. She's just like, okay, baby, you retired. But I don't want to create the habit or the pattern of me saying something and not doing it. So that, I guess, that's my topic for today. It's just, learn to keep your own word. Learn to keep your own word, and it will take you wherever you want to go. Okay. Love you guys. Keep me in prayer. And I'll talk to you soon. Later.